So he joined a golf club 2 years ago. He pays an annual membership fee of $8.95 and a greens fee of $30 each time he plays golf. So every time he goes, he has to pay $30. That's what the greens fee is. Here's his annual total, like how much he pays. And G is the number of times he played golf. So if he pays $2,065, we have to plug that in for his total fee. So we end up solving this equation. So to solve this, we're going to subtract $8.95 from both sides. That marker's not very good. So we get 1170. And then from the 1170, we're going to divide by 30. So he played golf 39 times last year. Okay. And if you were filling this in, you put it like that, or you can put it over here like that. Just you have to put it on one end or the other. Can't be in the middle. That's the only thing. Okay, so for number 2, we have f of x is equal to 3x plus 2, and we want to find f of x, or find x to make it to where that equals 14. So basically, what this is saying is we want this 3x plus 2 to equal 14. Okay. So far, okay? Subtract 2 from both sides. 3x is 12. Divide by 3. And you get x is equal to 4. Which again you can put here, or you can put here. Just so long as you have it on one of the sides, like either side. Okay. In order to find domain and range, okay, we need to remember domain is the x values, and then range is the y values. Okay, so we're looking for the x's. So how far does this go on the x-axis? So this is the furthest left, and this is the furthest right. So the x's are going to be between these two yellow lines. That's as much as it can go. This value is -5, and this value is +3. So the domain goes from -5 to 3. Does that make sense? Now, if you were asked to find the range, let's just hypothetical, we're finding the range now. We would look at the y's. So how far up and down it goes. So it goes from -4 on the y to 6. Does that make sense? The x's are how far right and left it goes. The y's are how far up and down it goes. So the furthest down it goes is -4. and the furthest up it goes is positive 6. So the range would be between -4 and 6. Okay, so that's how, if you've given a graph like this, that's how you find both the domain and the range. So if you're asked to find the domain, you just look how far it goes on the x's this way. And if you're asked to find the range, you look on the y's this way. So domain we did yellow, range we did orange. Arts. So okay, Gregory teaches martial arts. He has a one-time processing fee of $5. So one-time fee, and the classes are shown below. So we need to figure out how much is it going to cost to take 10 classes. Okay. So one class is $15. To go from 1 to 2, I go up 1. 2 classes is $27. How much do I go up here? To go from 15 to 27.
All the numbers?
12.
All done.
And then if I do one more class, I go up another $12. And if I do one more class, oops, that was 3, so this is 4, I go up another $12. So I'm adding $12 each time, but this isn't 12. I didn't start with 12. Okay, so like 1 times 12 does not give me 15. 2 times 12 does not give me 27. Do you see what I mean? So I have to find out what is that missing amount that I have to do. So I'm doing, each class is going up by $12. So I have 10 classes. I know I'm going to do 10 times 12 because they're each going up by $12, but I have some missing amount. What's the difference between 15 and 12? 3. And then 2 times 12 is 24, and there's a $3 difference. Does that make sense? And then 3 times 12 is 36, and there's a $3 difference. So I have to add 3 to that. So far, okay? And then there's a $5 processing fee. So that $5 processing fee comes from right there. So it's 120 plus 3 plus 5. So 10 classes are going to cost $128. Now you'll notice if we forgot the $5 processing fee, that 123 is on there too. So you got to be really careful that you get that processing fee. So C is my answer. Alright, we're looking at this equation. So I have -4 times x plus 10 minus 6 is equal to -3 times x minus 2. Okay? The first thing I need to do is distribute this -4 and distribute that -3. So I'm going to multiply those in. Don't forget your negatives. You have to bring those with you. So I get -4x minus 40 minus 6. The minus 6 just carried down, right? Is equal to -3x plus 6. So far, okay? Then the next thing I want to do is combine those two. And they're both negative, so they add together. Then I want to bring all of my x's to the same side. So these will cancel. And I get -x minus 46 is equal to 6. Then I want to add my 46 to both sides. Those will cancel, and so I get -x is equal to 52. But I don't want that negative. So I change both signs and I get x is equal to negative 52. Which you could. We've got a bookstore selling 18,000 paperbacks 1 month. And this was 10% less than the number of paperbacks the previous month. So I've got 1,800 or 18,000, sorry, is 10% less. And wow, they actually already gave me the formula, so I didn't have to figure it out. There's my formula right there. That was very nice of them. Well, first I'm going to combine these two x's. So I have 1 minus 0.1, that gives me 0.9. Then I'm going to divide by 0.9. So the previous month they sold 20,000 books. Okay, so we have number 7 says Shades R Us charges $20 per day to rent a lounge chair. Oh, look at there, they give us the formula again. Okay, so $20 per day to rent a lounge chair and $15 per day to rent an umbrella. Dan and Lisa paid $245 total. And then Lisa rented the chair and umbrella for 1 less day than Dan. Okay, so if we look at that, the plain old X's, these right here, X is Dan. Oh, well, they even say that. X represents the number of days. So we just have to solve for X and find Dan. X minus 1 would be Lisa. Okay, so to solve this equation, it's very squishy, sorry about that. First I'm going to distribute this 20 and this 15. So I'm going to get 20x plus 15x plus 20x minus 20 plus 15x minus 15 is equal to 245. Then I need to combine all of the x's. So I have all of these and this one. So 20 and 20 is 40. 15 and 15 is 30. 20 and 30, or 40 and 30 is 70. And I need to combine my negative 20 and my negative 15. So that's negative 35. So far okay? Sorry, that's so crooked. Add 35 to both sides. Divide by 70. And you get 4 days. Bless you. Okay, so we know that he rented for 4 days. But you'll notice 4 is not one of our possible answer choices because they're asking us total amount he paid to rent the lounge chair and umbrella. Lounge chair is $20 per day. Umbrella is $15 per day. So we paid $80 for the lounge chair and $60 for the umbrella. So we paid $140 total. Yes, distributive property is when you multiply in. okay? Identity property is when you either multiply by 1 or you add 0. Okay. Inverse property is when you multiply by the reciprocal to get 1 or you add the opposite to get 0. And commutative property is where you change the order. Okay. Oh, sorry, I can't see that. Right, so this is kind of just an example of each of the properties. So distributive multiplies in. Identity doesn't change anything. Right, your identity doesn't change. Inverse, you multiply by the reciprocal or you add the opposite. And then commutative only changes the order. So 3 times 2 is 2 times 3. 3 plus 2 is 2 plus 3. So this one is going to be distributive. Okay, so you don't even actually have to set up algebra for this one. Okay? So just to make things easier, I wouldn't, unless they ask you here, what is the equation, which they didn't. So your daily workout plan is 40 minutes of running and swimming. Okay, so 40 minutes total. Okay, 20 calories per minute running. And 10 calories per minute swimming. Okay, that's how much we're burning. It says, how many calories will you burn in your 40-minute workout if you run for 20 minutes? Okay, so we're going to run for 20 minutes. That means we're going to swim for how long? 20 minutes. Okay. And we burn 20 calories per minute running, and we burn 10 calories per minute swimming. So 200 times 200 is 400. 20 times 10 is 200. Add those together, and your total is going to be 600 calories. Without algebra. Just using basic logic and arithmetic. So if you can figure out how to solve the problem without algebra, and you can do this, then why complicate it by trying to write a fancy equation? Correct? Okay, this one, solution for D. So whenever they say solution or solve for, so let's say D, that means you want to say D equals, and then this is everything else. You want D by itself. So you're just moving things around. So I have 6E is equal to EF plus 3D. So I want D by itself. This is my target, D. So I want to get rid of this EF, so I'm going to subtract it. Only 6E and EF don't match, so I can't really do anything with it. So I just leave it like that. I still want D by myself, by itself, so I'm going to divide by 3 to get rid of those 3's. And I get 6E minus EF over 3 is equal to D. So we just look for this, 6E minus EF over 3. We're just moving stuff around. We can't actually combine anything because none of the letters match. So all you're doing is like you're rearranging. So I'm moving this to this side of the equation, and then I'm dividing by 3.
Is that 60?
Yes. All right, so the formula for perimeter is here. 2L plus 2W. Which of the following is the formula for the length? So basically we're trying to solve for L. So there's my formula. I want to get this L by itself. So the first thing I need to do is get rid of that 2W. And P and W don't go together, so I can only rewrite it like that. And then I need to get rid of this 2. Now I have L by itself, so I'm just looking for P minus 2W divided by 2. Okay. Number 12, inequality. Exactly the same as a regular equation unless you multiply or divide by negative. That's the only thing that changes. So we're going to add 4 to both sides. I get 4x is greater than 16. Then divide by 4. X is greater than 4. Greater than. Now be careful, because you've got a greater than or equal to and a greater than. So you want to make sure you picked the right one. This sign will need to match this sign. Right? You guys see that? Now if I had been dividing by negative, just hypothetical, if it was like negative 4x is greater than 16, and I divide by negative 4, if you divide or multiply by negative, you have to flip the inequality. So don't forget that. Okay. It's only if it's negative. Okay. Compound inequalities. When we graph these on a number line, 2 things to remember, just from the start out. If you have this symbol or this symbol, you get a colored in circle. If you have this symbol or this symbol, you get a not colored in circle. Okay. If you have a compound inequality set up like this, the shaded part is in between, is in the center. Okay. So when I look at my answer choices, because my X is in the center, I know it's going to be one of these 3 and not this one. Okay. But I'm just going to go ahead and solve it. I have negative 3 is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 1 is less than 11. Okay. Keeping in mind this is an open dot and this is a solid dot. Okay. Now I have 3 parts to this problem instead of just 2. So instead of doing the same thing to both sides or 2 sides, I have to do the same thing to 3 sides. Right? The right, the left, and the middle. So I'm going to subtract 1, and subtract 1. Which will give me negative 4 is less than or equal to negative 2x is less than 10. So far okay? Then I have to get rid of this negative 2, so I'm dividing everything by negative 2, and I'm dividing by negative, which means I need to flip my inequalities. So negative 4 divided by negative 2 becomes positive 2. I have to flip this. That's x. I have to flip that, and then 10 divided by negative 2 is negative 5. So I'm going to be between negative 5 and 2. Okay. At negative 5, have an open circle because this tells me open circle. And at 2, I'm going to have a closed in circle. So I need to identify -5 open circle, 2 closed in circle. So this one, the circles are cool. These are the wrong circles. I have -2 and a +5. That doesn't work. This is a closed in circle at -5. I need an open circle at -5. And then this is an open circle with a closed in circle, so those circles work. But I said I have to be between them, right? I'm between -5 and 2. This is between, this is not. So A. Does that make sense? Okay, so Trini's car breaks down on the highway. So she's 20 to 30 miles from the nearest car repair shop. She calls a towing company that charges $80 plus $3 per mile to tow her car. Okay. So she's gonna have to pay the $80 no matter what, right? Anyway, okay. So she's gonna pay $80 no matter what, right? Because that's what the towing charges companies, and then it's $3 per mile. And she doesn't know for sure. She's 20 to 30 miles. So we're trying to figure out how much is she going to have to pay. So if she's 20 miles times the $3, that would be 60 bucks. And if she's 30 miles times the $3, that's going to be $90. But she's going to pay the $80 no matter what. So we're going to add that to both. And the least that she'll pay is 140, and the most that she'll pay is 170. So we're going to look for 140 to 170. That's C right there. So she'll be paying somewhere in between there. And with a car lot, actually, car dealers are a straight commission. So if they don't sell any cars, they don't make any money at all. Like, they could be there for an entire month straight and earn nothing if they don't sell any cars. So I don't recommend a straight commission job, even though the commissions are usually higher on those. It's just, to me, the risk is too great. But a salary plus commission, that's okay because you're getting a salary, you know. So even if you don't sell anything, at least you get some money. So you can eat, put gas in your car, whatever. I'm a terrible salesperson. Absolutely terrible. I worked at the mall at the Limited. I don't even think the Limited exists anymore. It's just Express now, isn't it? Or is it just the Limited? One of them. Anyway, I worked at one of them, and they wanted us to go, like, if somebody wanted to try on, like, a pair of pants or a shirt or something, we're supposed to look at what they're trying on and then go find all the stuff that matches it and be like, oh, you know what would look great with those pants here? And, like, throw things at them over the top. Like, this shirt would look great with those pants. And, like, they wanted you to, like, do that to people. Like, that's intrusive and rude. So I wouldn't do it. My sales were terrible.
My dad's store. Like, I just get to laugh with it. I feel like if they want to try it out, they can look and try it out for themselves.
That's what I feel like. If she wanted a shirt to go with the pants, she'd have grabbed a shirt to try on. Like, she obviously just wanted pants. Otherwise, she'd have shirts. When people are shopping, they grab what they want and they go, right? I mean, like, you don't suddenly be like, oh, you know, I wasn't going to buy a shirt today, but now that you've thrown 6 of them at me, it seems like a really good idea. You know, like, I don't, anyway. Whatever works, I guess. I'm more of a, if you want it, buy it. If not, leave me alone kind of salesperson. Like, you know, like if you have a question for me, I'll be happy to answer it. If you're ready to go, I'll be happy to ring you up. Otherwise, leave me alone. Where I've taken 3x is equal to 12 minus 2y, and I just pick this up and move it. And you change the sign when you do that. Remember that?
Yeah.
So same idea. This is a different one. Okay, slope-intercept form is the y equals mx plus b. And the key to this one is you want y by itself with nothing on it. So if I have 2x is equal to y plus 3, that's got a y by itself, right? It's just not in the front. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip it around. So I'm going to rotate it like that. All I did was change sides, and that's okay. I can do that because you can flip around the equal sign as long as you flip everything around. Nothing has to change. I just like rotated it. Okay. So I've got the y by itself, but it's not completely by itself. I still got this plus 3 there, so I'm going to get rid of that plus 3. And now I am in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, or minus b in this case. And there you go, see.